Hey, tribe. Welcome to North Star Lighthouse, a safe space that I've established which welcomes all paths of life and encourages you to come as you are and just be. I'd especially like to welcome like minded and open minded individuals who are wanting to belong to a conscious collective community where we can co create, expand on, and share this human experience together, that which we call life. You see, it was just over 5 years ago for me that I began to practice meditation, cultivating mindfulness and awareness of my thoughts, my feelings, and my actions. I desperately wanted all three to align because as I started to enter adulthood, I realized that the blueprint that was set out for me by my guardians as a child, my parents, my family and friends, my teachers, it just wasn't what I wanted. Go to school, graduate college, get a good paying job, find a romantic relationship to settle down in, and consider kids and marriage before retirement. That wasn't all that I wanted. There were other things inside of me that I can feel that resonated deeper and truer than what I've just been learning from others. And while I believe that a shared human experience is important and that communication is a part of establishing a strong foundation of connection, that does not determine who we are. We are the center of our own universe, each and every one of us. I know this now to be true because I've asked a very profound, open-ended question to the universe. I asked, what is life? And because I was determined to find the solution, I was no longer looking at the problems in my past. Everything was behind me. And for the next 2 to 3 years, it's all been, what is life? And the universe has yielded many responses to me since then that I believe is important and a part of my purpose to share with others who are willing to listen, to learn, to share what they've known as well, so that we can continue this evolutionary experience as we've always been. The process of the spiritual awakening is a total paradigm shift. Everything that I've known to be started to fall apart, only to be put back together again, but stronger, clearer, and honestly, more fun. And that makes the most sense to me. When we entered this world, the first trauma we've ever experienced was going through our mother's birth canal. And we've gotten over that part. We've established our conscious mind, which is our 5 senses that we work with on a daily basis. And we're so good at translating that vibration that we often take it for granted and place our focus elsewhere. But you see, after we've established our 5 senses, the next thing that we went to is to explore the world and what was fun. Do you remember when you were a kid? What you were doing? What you cared about? I'm talking about what felt good to you and what you gravitated to. Along the physical trail, we started to pick up beliefs and observe what others would tell us and show us, and we might have adopted that as our own. Imposed beliefs are among so many of us, which causes us to go to sleep in unconscious, doing things mindlessly, without awareness. And although awareness is always there, most of the time we tend to focus on the things that we don't want or the absence of what we don't have. And if everything is vibration, that can only mean that what we put out is what we get back. And if our focus is on all of the things that we dislike and don't want or hate or disdain, that means that we have to receive more of it. And I most certainly didn't want that for myself. And I most certainly don't want that for anyone who is wanting to belong to a community where we can be a conscious collective and deliberately create our lives instead of living by default as maybe you've been doing, because I know that I've certainly been doing that and I'm done with it. I am trying something not new, but different. All of the most successful people that I've ever heard of or read on or about falls into line with the universal laws of life. This is the one science and philosophy that is not mandated in our school system. It once was. Well, that was before institutions. However, it's always been here. All of our ancestors know it. The natives of this land knows it. And the natives of your land, wherever you are listening in. And so that is going to be my practice and focus going forward. And it is something that I want to share with you. Now, what I'm going to say along the lines of this message in this video may or may not resonate with you. So take what does and leave what does not. I appreciate you being open-minded and considerate of anything that I share, only because it can help you navigate your journey and your own life path along the way. So what I know about life now is, and believe to be true, is that life is a game. I hope that I am not offending anyone when I say that. But even so, if you feel offended, that is a feeling for you to look at. Maybe it doesn't feel like or look like life is a game because you're focused on all of what we call the seriousness in the world. I mean, if you turn on the news, which is not a good idea, you will find all of the low vibrations to focus on. And again, what we focus on expands. Where we input our energy, we output and get an outpour of that vibration right back. It's very challenging, especially if you're not conscious, to look at something that feels really bad and feel good about it. It's impossible. It's a split vibration. So we would need to shift our focus to what feels good. Just like in a game. Any game that you've ever played, think about it. Or even if it wasn't a game that you played, maybe it's a game that you watched, a sport on TV or in person. Or maybe at a casino. It doesn't matter. Regardless, any game that anyone ever plays does not play with the intention to lose. We only play with the intention to win. And along with that, in wanting to win, it is important to learn valuable lessons from valuable mistakes and apply all of the techniques and practice those techniques in order to win. At this time right now, the NBA finals are going on. Boston Celtics versus Golden State Warriors. These athletes worked very hard to get to the finals. The showmanship that they put on during these final games was years worth of work. And that is the same way that we can approach life if we want to get to the finals, if we want to win the championship, and if we want to live in abundance. It's okay to look at all of the good things that's happening around us and focus there, because there's plenty. And it is our responsibility to ensure that we feel good most of the time in order to be inspired, motivated, determined, and disciplined in working towards our passions and desires. Again, I do not want to downplay anyone's perception of their reality. However, I do want to emphasize that your reality is your own reality. It is not the reality of everyone else's. When we share a human experience, we can relate, but we can't feel for one another. We cannot feel what's happening inside of someone's body. We can only closely relate or understand based on our own experience. It's not the same thing. it's close, and it's connected as per the universal laws. Divine oneness, the first universal law, says that we're all connected and intertwined. So that means anything that's happening in your experience, in your reality, whether it's good or bad or indifferent, is a connection directly to you. It is wise to observe and not absorb. What do I mean by this? Well, first, wisdom is knowledge in action. It's one thing to know something and not put it into action. It's completely different to know something and to implement it and assimilate it into your practice of behaviors. Observing is using our five senses, our eyes, our nose, our ear, taste, touch, and smell, without having a knee-jerk reaction to it. Meaning we react so quickly that we didn't even have a decision in how we want to react in it. We don't want to absorb what's happening and take on the woes of the world because we can't change what's on the outside. We can only change what's on the inside. More importantly, changing what's on the inside, or at least knowing it, is the most vital thing and key to life. Everything that has been manifested in our external world first came from inside of us. There isn't a thing that is fully manifested and tangible in your hands, underneath your seat, in the scope of your perception, with your eyes and your ears, that has not first came from thought. Our thoughts and our feelings are major keys in how we navigate our life journey. As I would say, it's our power tools. And the third one that I like to focus on is action. And there's many things that fall under the scope of action. For example, speech. There are many who will say speech is our power tool. But I just want to emphasize and reiterate that mastering ourselves, our thoughts and our feelings and our behaviors is absolutely the most important thing in our lives. When we master ourselves, we can master everything and everyone around us and on our paths. We can have whatever we want. We are already abundant and prosperous on the inside. We don't need the evidence on the outside to show us our abundance and prosperity, our joy, our love. All of these things were built in, just like our emotions, and just as built in as our thoughts are into our minds. They already exist. We need access to it. And the best way to attain access to it, in my opinion, is practicing and cultivating mindfulness and awareness. Why? Because that is the training. That is a part of the game. That is the techniques that you need in order to win the championship when you get there. If we can listen to our feelings, if we can train our minds, if we can control our actions and be responsible for ourselves, we will win the championship. And this is what I look forward to discussing more with you all on the next journey. So for now, you can digest, and I'll see you on the next one. Love and light.